Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, lovely people. I have the lovely Cathy Domoney with me, and I just realized we went live on YouTube, and I'm just going to keep this because the plan was to record this and to share it on the usual day, which is tomorrow. But hey, things happen for a reason, and we're doing this live. You okay with that, Cathy?
Yeah, I
Awesome.
was
I love
surprised that
it.
you were going live but I thought that's okay. I'll roll with it.
We just talked about recording and now we're going live. It doesn't matter. So the good thing is we had so many bloopers today already. We talked about so many technical bloopers. So it just fits right in and we're just doing it. So I love that you're here with me again because a few months ago we had a conversation about your beautiful dad and how you dealt with his passing, what it meant to you. And now that we have the summit already up and running in the Backyard Peace Project about grief, which you have kindly dedicated to Rob, I thought it would be the perfect time to bring you back on camera and to talk about something that is very, very close to your heart and to mine, and that is the Backyard Peace Project. So, without further ado, for those of you who still don't know you, which can't be a very large crowd, could you just please reintroduce yourself and tell us who you are? Welcome.
Sure. Pleasure to be here as always. Hanging out with you is always an absolute joy. Yes, so I'm Cathy Domoney, the founder of the Backyard Peace Project. And the Backyard Peace Project has been on my heart for about 4 years. And you know what it's like. You just get this synchronicity and the timing's right, and something unlocks the next version of you and you up level. And I kind of said to God, if now's the right time for me to launch this, let me know, let's show me. And like everything rushed in, like it was magical. People, opportunities, everything just happened. And really, the Backyard Peace Project is an opportunity for good people to come together for the greater good, to come together to heal, to get that sense of belonging, to go on a beautiful, unique personal journey into uncovering full potential, love in all areas of your life. And all for the price of a cup of coffee and a slice of cake a week. So I wanted to make it really, really accessible because
Yeah.
obviously in my work with trauma, I'm pretty high ticket one-to-one. And I was working with amazing leaders and it was impacting their teams and I loved it, but I wanted to have more impact. I wanted to be able to connect with people who really, really needed the help and it just wasn't there. Super hard to get hold of really good help. And also it can be very expensive. And so I wanted to make this a really accessible place where we can come together with these heart-centered leaders. We've got an amazing team in there, and really to have experiences, sessions, masterclasses, experience courses to develop that inner peace, whatever that looks like for us. And just to be exposed to all of these incredible leaders, these incredible geniuses in their fields, and to bring all of that together. It's such a high vibe community. And it's a place where you can come and explore without judgment. You can land without criticism. You can share knowing that you're going to be seen and understood and supported. And to be able to connect with people who are like-minded, but also the overarching intention of the Backyard Peace Project is to come in and build bridges between us and people who are not like-minded. And I love that intention because we are connected in so many ways that we just don't obviously see on a day-to-day basis. And so I just feel like this time in history, this time in my life, this time in everybody's experience is time for us to take our power back, join together en masse for this intentional purpose of healing what needs to be healed, disrupting the destructive cycles in our family that need destructing, because we want to raise really amazing people for the next generation, and to really cultivate that inner peace and have that ripple out into our families, our communities, and the world. So that is the intention. And it's a joy, it's magical. So many amazing things have happened in such a short amount of time, which does make me feel we're on the right track with this because it's what the world needs right now. They need to be connected with other really good people.
Yeah, especially with what's going on in the world right now. And I just want to add to that, Cathy, because I am a global ambassador of the Backyard Peace Project. I do share that quite a bit. And I love that we come together on a weekly basis, that there's a lot going on. There's so much more than just the summit. There's so much more than just the master classes. But I really love the weekly meetings that we have. And we have literally both just come out of our weekly conversations that we have on there. And that topic alone, the having the courage to stand out and stand up for what you believe in. It's really amazing when you said building bridges. I had this beautiful image that came up for me, and I'm fairly certain that you might probably know this, but I'm going to share it here for those who don't. There is a video that has circled around quite a few times where they're highlighting what actually unites us, where we have commonalities rather than how we are different. And they all start. Do you know what video I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. So there is a whole bunch of people in a room, let's say probably about 50, and they all stand like in a sort of square, and then this guy starts asking super simple questions, as in who had coffee this morning, and those who had, they took a step forward, and then there are more and more questions asked, and they become more and more specific, and some of them are funny, who had sex this morning, and some of them are very deep and meaningful, and it is really interesting, like every time when people step forward, and every now and then there's a question asked where only one person steps forward. But by that time, the whole community already holds that person. And it's so beautiful because the entire idea is to highlight what unites us and not what sets us apart. And that sort of image came up when you talked about it, that video that was sent around. And I'm absolutely certain that is an ad for a particular company. And weirdly enough, I don't remember because it's not the purpose. The purpose is to really think about what unites us. And I feel that so deeply when we have these conversations on a weekly basis, when we come together, when we talk about things um, that stir up things within us and make us think about and make us more intentional. So one of my most beautiful things to do is putting more attention to my intention when I walk out into the world. And I see that a lot in the Backyard Peace Project. So when people come in for the first time or they hear us talk about it and they're like, tell me more about that, I'm interested. What can they expect when obviously, we will be sharing the link in the show notes after we're done here. And what can people expect when they first come in? Can you share a little bit about, give them an idea of how to walk around, how to utilize it? Because I had one client of mine say, I'm not sure if I can contribute. I'm like, no, 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 no. You're not supposed to or don't have to contribute. I'd take the supposed to away because you can, of course, but you don't have to. There's no necessity in having to contribute. You're fully allowed to just absorb and consume everything that we are offering in there. Just have a look around. So, yeah, how can you explain it a little bit to people what to expect when they come in?
Well, it's based on an online platform that's been
Mm-hmm.
specifically programmed to create community. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we come in and there's like a main feed, just like you would on your Facebook or your Instagram. There's a main feed. So things get put there, people can talk, there's polls, there's questions, there's conversations happening in that main feed where we're sharing things. And it's
Do you want to share the
really,
screen?
um,
You
well,
don't
we
have to. I'm
can,
just
yeah, well,
thinking
no, I think we
then,
just talk it through at the
yep,
moment. But
whatever you prefer.
yeah, I think what you can do is then you can explore. So you can
Mm-hmm.
explore. There's always something released on a Monday. So Monday's book club. So we look at a really influential book and we give the 10 top lessons of that book. So at the very least, you're going to come away with a change of perspective because of the top 10
Mm-hmm.
lessons of that book. But it might encourage you to go and buy that book and read it and just change, your perspective to a more broader view. And so Tuesdays a thought for Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursday's self-care. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's something every single day
Yeah.
that is released. And weekly we have the coaching sessions, so we come on, we have a deep conversation, and if members can join if they want to talk about a specific topic. So if it's just ambassadors on the call, we tend to live stream it so that more people can get the benefit. If members are on the call, then it's only within the community, so we can keep that privacy and that sense of safety. But it's really a safe place to come and belong, to come and get away from the negativity, get away from the false comparisons that are done on social media, that where we're feeling like we're not enough, and when we're feeling lonely, when we're feeling disconnected, when we're feeling a bit wobbly in our lives, like we're not quite sure who we are now, what's next. It's a place that you can come and you can connect with professionals, experts in so many different arenas. We've got financial experts there. We've got a tapping expert, we've got a grief expert, we've got all of these amazing people that are there to support us, there to have these conversations.
I love that place where you can literally look at every single global ambassador in there, what they stand for. Obviously, I shouldn't say obviously because it's not obvious to those who come in, but there are master classes that we as global ambassadors contribute. This is our contribution to the Backyard Peace Project. You can read up about who we are, what we do. You can watch the master classes. I love that it is a space where when you come in, you know that your feed is going to be supportive and positive.
100%. Yeah. And here's the thing, like the Backyard Peace Project's there, so you can bring challenges. You can bring challenges to the conversation. You can bring challenges to the coaching sessions. But with an intention of finding a solution. And what I'm finding is I've researched a lot of groups on social media platforms, I would say which one particularly, but these groups can be quite toxic. And what's happening is people are vulnerable and they're looking for support and advice, but they're getting advice from people who are not trained to give advice. And that is problematic. Like there's sometimes, as a practitioner, as a person who has experience in counseling, experience in psychotherapy, experience in hypnotherapy, experience in trauma work, I sit back and I look at the advice that's been given and I cringe. I just think that is so problematic. And it's been given, well, it's mostly given with good intention. But sometimes there's conscious or unconscious bias there. There's some unresolved trauma within the person that's giving the advice. And so it's problematic in the extreme, because when you're vulnerable, you're looking for support, you're looking for direction. If you're getting it from somebody who's coming from a place that isn't trained, isn't an expert in that area, and has their own problematic experiences filtering through that advice, that is a red flag. And the beautiful thing about the Backyard Peace Project is I have personally vetted every single global ambassador. I know they're of the highest caliber. I know that they've got a track record of success. I know that what they bring to the community is of high quality and is trusted. And so you're coming in to be nurtured and nourished and seen and held and celebrated and reassured that we're all perfectly imperfect. And it doesn't matter where you are in your stage of life or your achievements or your success or whatever it is you are. There's always an area where we feel vulnerable. And it's okay. And we can come in, we can share that, we can support each other. We're able to not only rely on the experts in the community, of which there are many, but also to get that peer-to-peer support, to feel like we belong to something bigger than ourselves. And at the moment, in a time where we are the most connected technically that we have ever been, a lot of people are feeling disconnected and lonely and isolated. And the purpose of the Backyard Peace Project is to provide that online space, that community where we're cultivating inner peace of the individual, but we actually believe that cultivating inner peace, peace within our families, peace within our communities leads to world peace. It's the only way that we can do it.
I love it. It gives me goosebumps every time I hear you say that and speak about it, because it really does start in our own backyard. And that's where the whole idea of the Backyard Peace Project came from, the naming. I love it. For me, I think talking about community, there are a couple of things that I would really like to highlight and chat to you about. Once the one thing is that we have this community, and everybody is really held in there. You're in such a good space. And I also understand that some of the questions might be too personal. And I love that there's the function that you can private message somebody, you can private message Cathy or any of the global ambassadors. If there is a topic where like that really speaks to me, you can reach out to them, you can private message them, you can talk to them about it, you can book a session with them. That's absolutely completely separate from the Backyard Peace Project. If that's what you want, that's an option too. So then there's the global feed, where you can put a question or even something thought-provoking out there, to share something, or to share something that has helped you. You know, I love that there are so many different opportunities to connect, to share information, to gain information, and to be held in a space where you might feel disconnected or lonely. So that being said, Cathy, can you share a little bit more about the individual groups and sort of, what do you want to call them? Pockets, chambers, pods. That's what you call them. Thank you. The pods that are in there, because that is, a starting point at the moment. And I'm really very drawn to the idea. So share a little bit about that, please.
Absolutely. So the Backyard Peace Project is a big community, and everybody that comes in there is defaulted into joining that community. So that's the big vision, that's the big mission, is peace. And so people are coming in there and they're all part of the Backyard Peace Project. And what we're starting to do now is create these sub-communities, these pods. And so, for example, we're just looking to partner with the mining industry at the moment, where we can bring in, because my family is a mining family. And so my husband is away for 3 weeks. He's home for 1 week. We have 5 neurodivergent children. We're immigrants. We've got no family here. I deeply, deeply understand the complexity of having the tools and the resources and the support to get your family to thrive in really challenging circumstances where one partner is absent, physically absent, for a large proportion of the time, and it falls on the partner at home to keep everything going. And so what we want to do is actually provide support. At the moment, this is our first pod, we're very excited about it, is the FIFO, which is fly in, fly out, for those people that don't know, the FIFO Wives, Partners and Parents pod. So we have relationship experts in the community. We have parenting experts in the community. We have all sorts of amazing experts to support us in our personal growth and our personal healing as well, so that we can be the best parent that we can be, the best partner that we can be, the best person for ourselves that we can be, so that we can unfold into our true potential. And so what happens is there's different membership options. So if you go to the Backyard Peace Project, there'll be a page to say, come and try it for free. So you get 3 days for free to just poke around, have a little look and see if it's the right vibe for you. And when you join, there are different pods that you can join. So, for example, if I was looking to join the Backyard Peace Project as a FIFO wife, I would go and join the FIFO Wives, Partners and Parents pod. And then when I get into the community, I get access to absolutely everything, all of the summit classes, all of the master classes, all of the coaching sessions, absolutely everything. But only I can get into that pod because I am a FIFO wife. You know, we also have the Good Men Rising coming through, and we have a youth chapter coming through. And so it's a membership per family, not per person. And so we're very passionate about that. We want to make it as accessible as possible. But what happens is within that pod, and I've done a separate one for FIFO men, and I've done a separate one for FIFO industry women, because we want people to be able to share freely inside that pod with privacy. And so the men can come in, the industry men, they can come in. It's hard on them. It's hard on my husband. I get it. And so they've got a space where they can share freely, and they can share without worrying about upsetting their partner. They can share with complete privacy. And so each pod is gated.
Yeah. I really like that. I absolutely love the idea of, also like the idea of being able to speak their own language and speaking about something that only a FIFO wife will understand because she's been in that, you know. And I can so relate to what you said, the vetting other communities and checking them out, what they're doing. I did the exact same thing before I started my movement, Loving Life After Loss. You know, I had the movement for 5 years, so that chapter has finished in my life. But going into the chapter and looking at other grief communities, the focus was always on the grief rather than on the healing. And I wanted to do something different. I wanted to, that's why my group was called Loving Life After Loss. So the focus was already on the loving life part, and it really served as a filter. When people came into the group, I'm like, that's what you can expect here. You really get what's written on the box basically when you open it. That's exactly what's in there. And when I looked into other grief support groups, the grief was supported, not the healing. And there was a lot of drag me down and let's suffer together. And I could not breathe in those groups. I couldn't spend more than 5 to 10 minutes. And then I had to leave thinking that is not helpful. That is not healthy. And that's exactly what I now find in the Backyard Peace Project. When I look in there, it's like, this is healthy. This is supportive. This is on the right path. This, when I go in, I can be guaranteed whatever I land on, whatever notification I have, it's always positive, supportive, um, growth supportive, and that is what I love so much about it. That everything we do and offer in there is with the intention to grow, to connect, and to strengthen that community. So, with that being said, do you want to share a little bit about the summits or the summit that is running at the moment?
Certainly. So every month we do have a summit. And so that is a particular topic. So whether it's cultivating inner peace or, finding forgiveness, and this month was Rob's month. So this Rob month is the grief month. And it's not just grieving for a person either. It's grieving for a lost relationship and that person might still be alive. It's grieving for a chapter of your life that's over. It's grieving for so many different things. Grief doesn't just belong to death. Grief belongs to endings and all sorts of things. And so we're having these deep conversations, and every day there's something released. So every day there's another golden nugget of wisdom and a beautiful place to land and explore. And what we're doing in the Backyard Peace Project is we're exploring. We're exploring everything. We're having the uncomfortable conversations. I mean, we streamed live this morning on our weekly coaching session, and I shared a really vulnerable story about where my turning point was through great shame and guilt because of something that happened in my life, and it was a changing point for the rest of my life. And I mean, it was one of the worst days of my life where I couldn't have been more ashamed of myself. Do you know what I mean? But it's the sharing of authenticity. It's the sharing of rawness. It's giving other people permission to be imperfectly perfect, or perfectly imperfect, sorry, so that we can come in and we can be real. We can have uncomfortable conversations with the intention of making people feel less alone, of making people understand that everybody goes through this. You're not crazy. You're not weird. You're not on your own. And having honest conversations. So it's not all shiny and sparkly. We're getting down into the depths of things. We're having these conversations, but always with the intention of finding our way through to something better, through to growth, through to the next level of our evolution, through to developing strength and purpose and intention and connection and belonging. And so everything that we talk about in the Backyard Peace Project, sometimes it can be intense. Sometimes it comes with a trigger warning, because we do talk about a lot of big things, but always with the intention of helping everybody that accesses the material to unfold, to heal, to move towards inner peace and self-love.
Yes. My favorite topic to talk about, self-love. And I would really love it for anyone who's been watching this and has thought about, maybe there's something in it for me. I can promise you there is. And for you to find out, because you can trust me or not, you might have never heard of me and just came into this conversation. So try it out. I love that you are giving the option of trying it out for free for 3 days. Have a sneak peek, have a watch of some of the masterclasses, or watch one of the weekly sessions that we do on the Wednesdays. I really love them. They've become one of my favorite things. Unfortunately, I want to be there next week, but anyway, that's a completely different thing. Have a look around. I will be sharing the link in the show notes. So when you come back, if you're watching this live, you can't see it yet. The show notes aren't in there yet, but I will go back and copy and paste the link in there so you can come in and say hi. Make sure you say hi. We're there for you. If you have any questions and you can't find your way around, please reach out. I would really love for anyone to experience this and give this a go, because our feeds on other platforms, not mentioning any in particular, have become rather negative as of lately, in particular since the political changes. So I love that we have a lot for healing, for growth, and for community and connection. So come in, check it out. Cathy, have you got any final words that you would like to share with anyone who might have come in?
I mean, look, our intention is impact.
Mm-hmm.
We want to positively impact as many lives as we possibly can. And we've made the community as accessible as possible. So as I said, for the price of a piece of cake and a coffee per week, you can come in and you can experience all of this goodness. You can be part of something bigger. And also I've made it super flexible. So you can buy 10 months, 12 months for the price of 10. Super good deal because it's not expensive to start with. But also you can cancel any time, so you can jump in and out. But for me, my intention is if a family can only afford 1 month and they come in and they experience all of this love and all of this wisdom and being held and supported, and it shifts the needle to healing and self-love and the love within their family and a greater sense of peace, we've done our job.
Planting the seeds. I love it. Cathy, thank you so much for being here again with me. And I love and support your mission wholeheartedly. You know that. And I really wish for anyone who's watching this to just give it a go. Come on in. We'll be sharing the link. We're sending so much love. This is Cathy and Marie signing off. Bye for now. Thanks for being here.